What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sly Geordie, and welcome back to F1 23 My Team career mode for the Belgian Grand Prix of our final season in F1 23. This is going to be another long one, folks. Most likely anyway, because just like Austria, this is a sprint weekend, and I think this is actually the third sprint race of the season, the third sprint weekend of the season. I'm not sure if it's the last one. I think Qatar might be our last one. Oh no, Brazil's going to be our last one, never mind. So we got a couple more after this. But yeah, we are more or less halfway through the season at this point. If you missed last episode, it was a pretty good home GP for Sly Team Racing. Of course, a double podium for the team. A little bit of luck towards the end with Sergio Perez's DNF right at the end. Speaking of which, he is pretty far down. Wow, he's even lower than the McLarens, and the McLarens have not got a good car this season. So Perez, yeah, he'll feel really hard done by that. He had 3 P4s in a row, so it was really consistent for him, and he was, you know, going on for a P2. Like, he was quicker than Max in that last race, and literally with 2 laps to go as he was challenging us for the lead, his engine gave out, and yeah, he was out of the race. Someone to mention, though, that I haven't really noticed too much is Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari. He has been nowhere for the past few seasons, if you look at this. I mean, he was second place in the standings in season 2, but only because Verstappen DNF'd in the final race. So, you know, and he was also second place in season 1, but since then he's been really quiet, like really quiet, pretty low down in season 3. Of course, he was low down in season 4 to even reach 100 points. Because season 4's Ferrari was absolutely atrocious, even though Leclerc did pick up the win in the final race of the season. But he's been quietly consistent for the most part this season. Just thought I'd mention him. He's just hit 100 points, but he's not in contention for the championship unless, like, a miracle happens. Right now, we got to keep an eye on Verstappen and Russell. We are about 46 points ahead of the two of them, of course. So, you know, we need to keep going on. Like, we've got a comfortable lead, but it's not too comfortable where we can just slack off for the rest of the season. We need to keep going. However, it's the exact opposite for the constructors. We are almost at 400 points in the constructor standings, and we're probably going to hit 400 in this episode. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, pretty sure the Constructors' Championship is all but won by us. It's only a matter of time before it's made official. But yeah, it's been a pretty good season so far. Sorry for the lateness of this one, or rather the lateness of the last episode after a few days. I've been playing a certain little something. I can't talk too much about it, legally binding and all that. But yeah, that's what my time has been kind of preoccupied with, and this is actually the first episode I'm recording after being busy with said thing. So I would say there'd be a little bit of rust, but I always do the practice sessions, so it won't be too bad. But yeah, without further ado, let's actually just get on with it. Let's see if we've got any, like, situations heading into the Grand Prix weekend. Of course, Spa literally is my favorite racetrack ever. You know, I remember playing Spa as far back as Need for Speed Shift in 2008, right? Yeah, 2008. No, 2009. 2008 was Need for Speed Undercover. Never mind. But yeah, let's get into it. Round 12. So we've got 11 rounds left of the Formula One World Championship. So we're going to finish our final season with plenty of time to spare. I've also got to find time to do Breaking Point. I just want to play that. I don't think I'll do a review on it, but or any video on it for that matter. But you know, we'll definitely do something there. And we've got another mixed weekend. I'm so happy. So happy we're getting this sort of stuff now in the last few episodes. I don't know where it's coming from. I've been complaining about it for a while. But yeah, we have a wet sprint. I don't know what the weather forecast... Oh my God, 93%. And it looks like it might even be full wets that will dry up as we go through the sprint. I hope that's full wets anyway. That would be Really, really cool to see. But the full race is completely dry, which is nice. Don't have to worry too much. But unfortunately, we're not actually going to be able to prepare at any point for the sprint, unfortunately. And I think the only thing we'll be able to do is increase the front downforce for the sprint and then revert it for the race. Because after, like, when we start qualifying, we will literally be in Parc Ferme. So, yeah, not really much we could do about that. If we go to the R&D in progress, let's see if anybody has made any changes going into this Grand Prix. Everybody is stagnated, apart from Haas, who have brought in a good upgrade. Not that it will get them any points. I mean, they have 1 point somehow this season. I don't know when the bloody hell that was. Liam Lawson got points in Bahrain. He got one singular point in Bahrain. Yeah, just, I'm not even going to get into it. You guys know my issue with the lower teams in this game. Hopefully 24 sorts it out, because those teams, they've just never been anywhere in this game. It's genuinely such a shame, but it's because of the facilities. They're limited, and it sucks. And we might even experience that in the driver career mode in the next game. But again, we were apparently getting an overhaul. So, you know, maybe it'll be fixed. I don't know. I highly doubt it, because if driver career is getting... Like, what kind of overhaul is it going to get? Like, how different is it going to be from MyTeam? Who knows? But yeah, Mercedes have brought in an upgrade, so they'll be a bit quicker in this Grand Prix. To be fair, they've actually been pretty decent already. We know Bottas had a really good qualifying in the last Grand Prix, so quite interested to see how they do here. We've got one race remaining to beat Max Verstappen in this little rivalry that we do have, so let's make sure we do that. But without further ado, let's get into the Belgian Grand Prix. The final time we go around Spa or the final couple times, should I say, that we go around Spa in F123. Let's get to it. So here we are with our final qualifying lap of Spa in F123, or laps, should I say. And this is actually going to be our last time around this outdated track. That's right, I am recording this commentary after the F124 Everything You Need to Know So Far video, where we are actually going to get an updated track for Spa. So say goodbye, finally, to this track. Not that it's bad, it's just really outdated, and I can't wait to see and feel the differences for the next game. I'm actually really excited for F124, but yeah, Spa has always been a track that I have been reasonably comfortable on, even with these maxed out MyTeam cars making things a bit more uncomfortable. I wonder how the maxed out MyTeam cars could end up being like in F124. Guess that might be something we find out, or it might not be something we have to find out, because we'll be doing driver career mode for the most part anyway. But we'll see how content shakes out. We might end up still doing a MyTeam career for next game. But yeah, first lap ends up in a P3, about 6/10 behind Max Verstappen, which genuinely isn't that good at all. So here we are for our final lap of qualifying right here. We have fallen as far down as P10 as we get this lap underway. We're about half a tenth up so far. We need to gain about 6/10 to be anywhere near the front though. So yeah, this isn't good enough so far. We're going to have to get a lot of these corners better, and so far so good as we finish up sector 1. That is beautiful. We lose a little bit of speed towards the end of that section right there, but we have already gained nearly 3/10, over 3/10 now, into the 4/10, so this is a lot of time gained. We took that a little too deep, so we're going to lose about half a tenth there, maybe even up to a tenth, I don't know, as we go around this section. This section is so fun to watch in the replay cameras, but we are about 4/10 gained so far. This is pretty good as we now finish up sector 2. One more corner, and we're up by about 4/10. We've got a little bit wide here though, so we've lost a bit of time there, about half a tenth. So pretty shaky lap, honestly. The handling on this game is drastically different once you've maxed out these MyTeam cars. Well, not drastically different, but it's definitely a noticeable change from time trial to season 5 of MyTeam, you know? I could put in some insane laps with the normal cars, but when we get into MyTeam, it's a bit different. But there you go. P7 is all we can gain from that. But honestly, I think that just might be down to the car's limitation itself, because George Russell, our teammate, is all the way down in P13. If we had the original format, he would not have even made it to Q3. So that definitely shows something. He really wasn't actually far off of Alexander Albon in the AlphaTauri. Oscar Piastri, P15, while his teammate Yuki Tsunoda's in P2. So very, very different, big differences in terms of, you know, the qualifying leaderboard. But here we are for the sprint race. We are underway in wet conditions here, well, intermediate conditions, and it is a pretty decent start from everybody, but we're going to make it 3 wide with Lando Norris and Charles Leclerc, and Lando Norris backs out of it a little bit. I think Charles Leclerc, yeah, he managed to make a pretty good move around the outside. That's good for him, and we have managed to out-traction him, however, as Leclerc spent a lot more of his traction getting round Norris, but he is right on our backs already, and we're looking to chase down the 2 Red Bulls in front of us. We've got Sainz out in the lead, Yuki Tsunoda right on his tail in P2, and I don't think we're going to be able to make that many overtakes in these conditions, as they look pretty treacherous, to be honest. It is raining quite heavily. I think we're halfway to full wets here, but it's a pretty good start from us as we now look to chase down the Red Bulls in front of us. Leclerc has lost some time as Lando Norris has actually made a pretty sweet overtake. So good for him. But yeah, they've lost a bit of time behind us. So now we can properly focus on chasing down Max Verstappen. But yeah, pretty treacherous conditions, like I've said, at Spa. And we already know our car isn't the greatest this season around this track. So yeah, we're going to have to drive pretty well throughout these 5 laps to stand a chance of chasing down the Dutchman here. Of course, we are in a rivalry with Verstappen. So, yeah, look at that. Very close to the wall there. I haven't felt like that since the last time we were in intermediate conditions at Spa. What was that, season 2? Was it season 2? I think it was. I think we had some really nice battles in the sprint race of season 2 and the full race. But look at that, going around the outside of Verstappen, outbraking ourselves, of course. So we had to take evasive action. But it's a pretty good start. Lap 1, 2 overtakes made, and I can sense an overtake on Max Verstappen coming up as we now move on to lap 2. Sergio Perez has actually gapped Verstappen, so Verstappen is actually struggling in these conditions, and we are creeping ever so closer towards Verstappen. We're going to make a last minute dive, and look at that, we've had to go on the outside just a little bit, but it was fair, it was clean, and we have made the overtake on Max Verstappen. We've got a purple first sector as well, but of course, once we reach top speed, it's pretty much the same for everybody, especially when we're facing off against Verstappen. Of course, we're both using the same engine, and yeah, that was pretty much all that happened in the sprint race. It ended up being a pretty lonely race after that. We gapped Verstappen, Norris and Leclerc, and we just weren't able to catch up to Sainz, Tsunoda and Perez. They were just slipstreaming off of each other, and I didn't stand a chance. So, but P4, like from P7, pretty good day at the office in the sprint race. Driver of the day as well. So without further ado, let's go down to the grid for race day.
Welcome to this visit to the Ardennes countryside. Spa-Francorchamps hosted its first Grand Prix back in 1925, and this historic track is loved by drivers and fans alike. And us here in the commentary box too. So it's a warm welcome from the Belgian Grand Prix. Spa-Francorchamps today, a circuit that spans 4.35 miles. There are tons of elevation changes along the way too. 19 corners making up this circuit, with 9 of those to the right and the remaining 10 to the left. This track's a great one for fans of pure speed, and the average lap speed comes close to a whopping 145 miles per hour. Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. An immense lap from Carlos Sainz yesterday puts him in pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. As we continue through the rest of the grid today, we have the owner-driver, Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Théo Pourchaire, Gasly, Stroll, Bottas, Russell, Oscar Piastri, Albon, Drugovic, the owner-driver, Liam Lawson, Ocon, Joe, Magnussen, De Vries, and Jehan Deruvala. It's almost time for the lights to go out, so let's head down to the track where preparations are underway. A warm welcome to Anthony Davidson, who's beside me in the commentary box today. Let's have a chat about Williams.
Well, here we go, planning our race strategy, and as usual, I am going to mention what I discovered during the practice sessions, and that is the softs are just not viable. It's very similar to Silverstone, actually, so we are just not going to be using the softs at all. Quite frankly, this track was particularly bad because none of the tyres seemed very viable. So we're going to go on the mediums first because I feel like I want more speed for the first stint, and then we're going to end it on the hards. But like I said, lots of tyre wear around Spa. Not going to bother with the softs, and I'm pretty sure the other teams that do try the softs are going to struggle quite a bit, and we might be able to take advantage.
As we near ever closer to the start of the race, which team will come out on top? Who's got their strategies right for today's race? Well, we'll soon find out. We're almost ready to start the race as the cars take their positions on the grid, with the drivers and teams making their final preparations.
So, back in the dry, of course. Yeah, this should be we should have a much better time of overtaking people. And of course, like I said, and as you probably saw from the leaderboard, a lot of people are going on the softs. And it looks like they might just regret that. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to this race. We've always been good at Spa. Yeah, qualifying wasn't the greatest, but it's not as if we set a bad lap. It's just our car wasn't the best in qualifying conditions, but we don't really run into the same issues in the race conditions for most races, and Spa is definitely one of our strongest tracks. So, here we go. Up to 5 red lights. Starting in P3 as Yuki Tsunoda took a grid penalty, and that is a horrible start for Carlos Sainz. He has fallen quite a bit, and Max Verstappen comes out of nowhere, dives down to make it 3 wide, and we just didn't have enough space and time to avoid a collision there, but luckily there's no intense damage for Verstappen right there. And look at this, we're now side by side going through Eau Rouge, and Verstappen of course has more traction, and of course now here comes Charles Leclerc. Sainz is falling down as far as P5 from P1. That was an awful start for him, but he's back, and he might be looking to overtake Leclerc here as the 2 Ferraris try to make it 3 wide. And of course, Leclerc bit off more than he could chew there, and it looks like Yuki Tsunoda back in the top 5. He'll be looking to make a comeback. But yeah, it's now us chasing down the 2 Red Bulls. That was an audacious dive from Max Verstappen. Very surprising. You don't usually see moves like that going into turn 1 at Spa, like in between the 2 cars, but the space was there and Verstappen took the space. And yeah, probably shouldn't have, as he may have taken some minor damage to his wing. Maybe not. If he doesn't pit, then he hasn't. And I mean, he's pretty fast. He's coming. He's like keeping up with Perez quite easily, coming up to the end of the lap. So I'd hazard a guess that he's not dealing with any damage. But yeah, very reckless move by Verstappen right there. So now we've got to play some catch-up, and no, he's not pitted, so there's no damage there for Max. And yeah, we've got a bit of work ahead of us, but P3, after qualifying P7 in the qualifying session, pretty good start to our race day. And now it does take us up until lap 4 to properly catch up to Max Verstappen. And we're going to get DRS here. Of course, Verstappen will get DRS on Perez as well, but we're directly behind Verstappen. We're going to get a ton of slipstream here. But of course, we both reached the same top speed on the same engine. And look at this, we're going to go around the left. Verstappen's going to try and cover off the inside. And, well, to no avail. We do make the move. We make the pass on Max Verstappen. That was beautiful from us right there. And now we look to chase down Sergio Perez, who seems to be on pretty good form, and he'll be looking to, you know, come with a good race result after what happened at Silverstone, of course. He was, yeah, on for like a guaranteed podium finish. He was going to start properly challenging us for the win. Like, he was properly tire whispering those softs at Silverstone. Then he had the engine failure, unfortunately. And it does only take us until the next lap to actually catch up to Checo here. And we're actually pulling on him a lot quicker because he's not using DRS. This time he's going to try and push us to the inside. I will happily take that. And look at that, I do try to give him as much space as I can without compromising too much speed, and we do make a little bit of contact with Perez. That shakes me up a little bit as we got a little bit wide on this corner. Perez looking to go down the inside, but yeah, that's not happening, and we defend that really well and fully complete the move, and there it is, P1, and that's how it pretty much stayed. So yeah, my strategy on point. I did tell you, like, there's a lot of tyre wear there. Verstappen had actually fallen back quite a bit, and he's pitting early. He's pitting right now, and so is our teammate, and we need that because George didn't really overtake too many people in the sprint race. I think he finished P12, so he didn't have a good race, a good sprint at all. But maybe pitting early in this race now might get him some points, and we're going to pit one lap later, ready for the hards. Of course, Perez following behind, so is Sainz, so is Tsunoda, so is Norris, and whoever's behind him, one of the Alpines, I think. But yeah, here we go, and let's see what happens. Let's see if Verstappen has actually completed the undercut. I highly doubt it, though. I think he lost too much time on the softs in that first stint. But here he comes round the corner, and yeah, it seems I was right. He's actually barely just about getting in front of Perez. So yeah, once again another howler of a strategy from pretty much most of the grid, to be quite honest this time. Silverstone was pretty mixed, but yeah, this time a howler from the rest of the grid. But Verstappen, for these first few laps, is definitely quicker on those mediums. He's actually looking to go around the outside and momentarily takes P1. Bit of contact right there as he looks to force his way round. And look at this, we're going to take the inside right here. You don't usually see battling around this section of the track, do you? And look at that. Very close moves. He backs out for some reason, even though he would have had a lot more space since I had to go on the grass a little bit there. Odd choice from the AI there, but Verstappen has now been overtaken by Perez, so he's actually put too much into that move and probably unsettled himself, to be quite honest, and Perez has completed the move to retake as the lead Red Bull driver. Good for him, honestly. But yeah, it looks as though we might be taking a pretty comfortable win here at this point, as we now skip ahead to the end of lap 14, going on to lap 15. Sorry about this, but yeah, it was a pretty straightforward race from there. That's what happens when the AI choose a blatantly wrong strategy. It's as if the AI don't properly take information from the practice sessions and put it towards this race. Like some races they do, you know, for example, Lewis Hamilton at Portimao in season 2, where he was the only AI to make the right decision. You know, like, we know the AI is capable of it, but it's been a totally unanimous wrong move from a lot of the AI here, other than like people like Perez, for example. But you know, he lost a lot of time on the softs, and who knows what could have happened had he gone onto the mediums, like started on the mediums instead. He's doing a good job keeping up, but yeah, I don't think there's anywhere where he could overtake. Well, commentator's curse, of course, towards the end of lap 15. Perez, he just didn't stick with it. He just didn't have the balls to fully stick with that move there. I feel like he could have made a really audacious overtake around the outside. He did have the space, but he just didn't go for it. And once again, over the checkered flag, it's a win for us at Spa. Beautiful. beautiful, perfect strategy. Everything works for us. And once again, like I said last episode, that is why you do your practice sessions.
What a great race then, and a magnificent victory here at the Belgian Grand Prix. The faces on our top three look so incredibly happy as they make their way up to the podium. A much-deserved victory and a brilliant performance from them all.
Well, it's domination for us once again. You know what? At first, when they announced the change in handling for F1 24, I didn't want it, you know? And part of me still doesn't want it, because I genuinely do feel as though 23 is perfect. I don't see how they could improve it from here. To be quite honest, but I have pretty much mastered this game at the fairest settings I can have that are still proposing a challenge, you know? And it's not just like the AI racing, it's also like the strategies and stuff, and I feel like we're definitely in need of a change, that's for sure. Because, yeah, I'm starting to win a lot of these races, but it also comes down to the fact that it is essentially equal performance cars at this point in the career mode, which is why I think in future games I'm not going to do the career modes this long anymore, because even when they do chuck in the new regulations, it goes straight back to maxed out cars pretty quickly. So, we'll see what happens in the driver career modes, but I think for my team career modes, I'm never going to do any more than 3 seasons, I think, ever again, because it definitely started to get more dull, but I'd already committed to doing 5 seasons after 3, so, you know. Not saying I'm not enjoying this, like, it's still providing really, really good racing, it's just that the end results showing a lot of domination, really. And it's a shame, because I do want closer battles, you know. Season 2 was, like, Season 1, we've just never beaten that, you know. Season 2 had some really good battles. Season 3 was great, okay? Season 1 and 3 were peak. Season 2 was pretty good as well, we had some really good battles there, but Season 4 was, like, piss easy. And, yeah, this one, it's having some challenges, sure, but you know, race results are all ending the same, so it looks just as easy, to be honest. But at least we're not, like, running away with it like we did in Season 4, you know? So I will give it that. A lot of the races, thankfully, are pretty good. But, yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of F1 23, My Team Career Mode. If you guys liked it, be sure to hit that like button as hard as you possibly can. Comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you all next time for some more F1 23. Be sure to check out my Everything You Need to Know So Far video on F1 24. And, yeah, without further ado, see you soon. Peace.